Hello, this is GeoTechLan, and today I'll be giving you guys an update of the latest Ubuntu Touch 16.04 development version. So, before we get started, let's take a look and confirm the specs I'm running on. So you can see OS build number. It is r317. This is the Nexus 5 phone. You can see it's Hammerhead. So the biggest thing that is now currently working on this version is the Open Store. And so as you guys can see, the Open Store now is in perfectly working order. The interesting thing with this here is that the UBports team had to, what it appears like, kind of take the Open Store OS or the Open Store app and modify it. So when this first started working, I came over here, saw that there was an update, and I thought, hey, there's a newer version of the Open Store. And foolishly enough, I upgraded and I got the official version, which actually doesn't work. So I guess in order to make this work on Ubuntu Touch 16.04, they had to modify it in some way. So the good news is that you can now download apps and they look good. Now, with that said, one of the biggest things still missing from 16.04 is that a good number of apps won't work. So you have this app that boots, but if I hit play, it'll just boot me back out here. And so, according to the UBports Q&A, a good number of these apps have to be recompiled to work with 16.04. And one of the challenges they have is that, at least as the Open Store is built, there can only be one version of the app. So obviously these are all built to work with the stable version of Ubuntu Touch, which is 15.04. And I guess they're trying to either have both apps be available or switch the Open Store to use 16.04. I'm not 100% sure, but that's kind of what's in the works there. Although this issue with the apps themselves not working, it's really just, it's not something UBports can address directly because it's up to the app makers to get their apps recompiled, but they can definitely assist with it. And so the other good news is that as of this actually recent update, GPS finally works. The interesting thing is that it was working, GPS was working with UNAV for quite some time. And for maybe the last couple of days, or maybe the last week of updates, it was working, but it would be very buggy. It would take forever to load your location. But it would work, so I was like, all right, I guess it works. And I tried testing it on the Google Maps web app, and it wasn't working. It would give me that little notification that it cannot detect your precise location. And so I thought I was kind of giving the GPS working like an incomplete, because it would kind of work on UNAV, and it wouldn't work here. But then I was thinking, well, maybe the app itself, something's wrong with it, that it just doesn't work with GPS. But lo and behold, this most recent update, it actually works. So let's take a look here. Interestingly enough, it isn't working. So I guess it sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. So I guess I'm giving this an incomplete after all. So it did work for the first time with that most recent update, but I guess it's something that will work with every reboot or not. But let's try it on UNAVs now and see if it works on UNAV. So on UNAV, like I said earlier, it was working with some versions and with some previous versions, but then suddenly it started working perfectly fast and perfectly fine. So, and hey, looks like I do have proof after all that this works. This is my location. Let me zoom out here. But yeah, as you guys can see, it at least does work. It's kind of working the same way it was working before this latest update. I tried it, I gave it like a minute, and it did finally work. On the Google app though, it still doesn't work. It's pretty much back as the way it has been working the last few updates. I guess with the most recent update, as soon as I shut it down or rebooted it, it just like switched it or broke it again to how it was before. But I can assure you, I think GPS is pretty close to working 100%. So it's getting there. So the camera, it's pretty much the same issue as it's been all the time. So camera seems to work okay. So let's snap a picture here. And so that snaps. But oh, it crashed on me. So when I switch to camera, it kind of crashes here. But I can restart this app. So again, as you can see, it's pretty buggy still. And even worse, when I record, it's just gonna get stuck. Watch. See, it just kind of gets stuck no matter what I do. So, same issue that was occurring last update. It's still going on. So those are the major things to work on. And I think one other thing actually that I actually did forget it last time, is that the browser itself loads text all jumbled up together. This is the web app, but it's still working with the actual browser itself. So as you can see, the letters are all jumbled together. So that's not supposed to be happening. And from what I understand, that's something that it's related to the browser, and that's something that UBports, I think, should be able to fix directly. Same thing with the camera. That's something that they can work on directly. The only thing, and the GPS is the only other thing they could fix directly. The only thing that they can't fix directly is just getting the apps working. They just got to work with the Open Store and the app makers to get all the apps working here. And I guess I can do a quick shout out of some new apps here. Oh, right there, Steam. It's really only going to load like the Steam web version. It's not like you can install Steam games on here, at least not yet. And I guess there's LibrePay. Where did that go here? LibrePay, it's a good way to donate to us. It's a non-profit open source tech that you guys can use to donate. Looks like this is not an English version though, but the last thing I'm gonna complain about here is probably the most useless thing that needs to be fixed. But it's just that when you flip it over, you'll run that little bug that still seems to be persistent, that it'll just be kind of continue on forever. And then if you flip it back, you'll get this little bug. So again, not too important, but doesn't hurt to be fixed, right? And interestingly enough, if I swipe like sideways here, it'll fix itself. That's an interesting little bug there. Sometimes it may even work if I flip it. So it doesn't work, but if I flip the app sideways like this again, sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. It's kind of like, yeah, happens sometimes it doesn't. Other than that, that is pretty much it, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give the video a like. If you like the channel, please subscribe. And I will see you guys next time.